I told you to buy the figure. Why don't you listen to me? Okay. The next question is from Taco Manx, or Taco Man X, I'm not sure. And he says, is there something as a kid that you desperately wanted but you never got? Like a toy or a video game? Now this is a funny story. This is a very funny story, okay? When I was a kid, there was this one year, and let me, please, all of you on the stream, if you are a parent, if you plan to be a parent someday, please heed my advice, because this is something that, just heed my advice. If you listen to this story, this will help you, okay? When I was a child, I was very different than the other children. My mom could take me to the local store, and what she would do, she would go to the toy department first, before we looked at anything else in the store. She would say, okay, Philip, because she used to call me Philip. She would say, okay, Philip, pick any toy, and I would look around. Ooh, I like that one. She would hand it to me, and I would look at it, and the whole time we were in the store, I would just look at the toy, oh, it's nice, it's an awesome toy. I would read all the packaging. Of course, I couldn't, very limited reading that I had back then, but I would read as much as I could. You know, look at colorful packaging. I remember back then the biggest thing was He-Man figures. So it was always He-Man. I would look at the figure. So it'd be hours my mom would be in the store shopping for different stuff or whatever. And then finally at the end of the day, we'd go back to the toy department and I would put the toy back. And I wouldn't bitch and moan. I wouldn't demand that my mom buy it for me. I knew that that was just a normal day. She was there to go get groceries or whatever it was we were there for. And that when it was either my birthday or a holiday, that's when I would get my toy. And that's how I was as a kid. And a lot of you might be saying, what the fuck? And yeah, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was my raising or if it was just the way I was. I was very content to see stuff for a limited amount of time, put it back, and then know that if I want that permanently, I can get it on a holiday. I don't know. That's just how I was as a kid. Okay? So yeah. So I remember this one time. Now this was much later than that. That was when I was a small child. When I was much older. So we're talking, I was still pre-teens. But I was around that age, you know, the 10 to 12, whatever, range. And I was heavily, this is the time of my life, I was heavily into comic book collecting. I would read every X-Men. So there were like 4 different X-Men books. I would read every X-Men book. I would read every single, you know, certain Spider-Man and stuff. I was into it. I was into the Marvel comics at the time. And I remember, this one time, I was into, again, I still liked action figures. I was into the X-Men action figures at this time. And at this time I had an allowance, so I would save up my money, and I would spend it every once in a while to buy these X-Men action figures. So this one day, here's the thing. Now, a lot of people might not even realize this, too. This was nuts. I gotta go into detail a little bit about this. This was absolutely nuts. So, you know, toys are for kids, right? What happened back then is that because the comic book fad was so big, other things that were offshoots of comic books also became collectible and highly valued. So for example, the X-Men figures, when they came to a store, the box would have like a lot of certain figures and very little of others. And one of the ones that was the variant that was rare was Wolverine, which was nuts. Why would you make Wolverine the variant that only has a few per box of shipment? Because Wolverine is one of the most popular characters in the X-Men universe. So the Wolverine figure was very rare at the time, okay? And I remember, I went to a comic book store one day with my parents, and the Wolverine figure was there, and it was expensive. It was like maybe, I think, 20, 25 bucks, when really the other figures only cost like 7, 8 bucks, so this one was worth 3 to 4 times more than a normal figure because of its rarity. And I turned to my mother and father, and I said, guys, listen, I want that action figure for my birthday. So, please, what I would ask you, I've never asked you to do this before. We know how rare that figure is. We know we've been to stores endlessly and we've never seen it in the flesh. It's finally here in front of our faces. Please buy the figure now. Hide it from me for whatever, for months until my birthday, and give it to me on my birthday. This will ensure that I will get this action figure because we know how rare it is. And it's the first time we've seen it. And I begged with my parents and I pleaded with my parents to get it, right? So the way it worked is that maybe once a week we would go to the comic book store. And so like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row, they still didn't buy it, right? Week 4 we go back. It's gone. We asked the store owner what happened. Someone bought it, and I have not, you know, we haven't gotten any more. we've gone to other, it's so popular, we've gone to toy stores. No one can find this action figure anymore. It's that rare because it was the most popular character at the time, Wolverine. He was the rarest figure because he was the variant figure in the box figures that would be shipped to toy stores. So my birthday came and passed, and guess what? My parents go, "We're very sorry, Philip, but we couldn't find the action figure." I said, "I told you to buy the figure. Why don't you listen to me?" Like, it was such a no-brainer. All they had to do was buy it then. They could have pinned it forever. I would have never bugged them for it till my birthday. I knew I was going to get it on my birthday. Because they didn't buy it, I didn't get it. I didn't get that figure. I kid you not. I did not get that figure for almost a year. And the reason I got it is because the figure manufacturer realized it was so popular that they were idiots for not making enough. They did a second run, and of course now the figure was valueless because everyone had it because it was the second run figure. So I did eventually get it, but it was the second run, and of course now it's a year later. Do you really think that something I wanted a year ago is as valuable as, but then I was already starting to move into other stuff. So I give you this advice: if you're a parent and your kid definitely tells you they want something and you see it ahead of time, you fucking buy it. You don't wait, because this is what happens every year with remember they had Tickle Me Elmo? They had all these toys. Every year there's the hot toy, and parents don't listen. They don't buy it when they see it. They wait, and then all of a sudden, last minute, everyone goes to buy it, and you don't get it. And now you look like an ass in front of your kid, and you couldn't go just do the simple thing of buy them the thing that was there and available right in front of their face at one point, and it's very disappointing for the kid. So if you can get it ahead of time, get it ahead of time. Okay. Now, let's see. And yes, I see someone asking in the chat, yes, my parents did have the money to buy it. They were just fucking stupid. Let's put it that way. All right, I'm going up here. Okay, I see some more questions.